before we hear any more, we don't know what Lisa's doing. We have no idea what Lisa's doing. So we have to come back and talk with Lisa for a second.
Okay.
Because last we heard, she was choking on a piece of potato. Has a foot that's like we're ready to just amputate it.
Yes, I would have liked to. So yeah, I took my pack off. I put on a warmer shirt again, and it was only like, I think 5 or 10 minutes after he left the aid station, Aaron and I set out, and I thought, well, maybe I'll catch up to him.
Mm-hmm. You never know, because
Right.
that's 100 miles,
Right.
and you have highs and lows.
Yeah,
So.
and I felt bad because when I met up with Erin, she had tights on, like right after my blister pop. I said, you need to take those off. It's way too hot for those. And she did. And then we started to head out, and I'm like, oh, it's cold now.
Well, you could have been hot too because you were hurting.
Yeah.
When you're in pain,
And
like
I
your
felt
metabolism.
bad. Yeah, I felt bad because I'm like, oh God, now she's gonna be cold on this loop after I told her to take her tights off. And but the thing was, you kind of would go up and down, along the ridge,
And those low parts.
it would be cold, but then you come back and you get a wave of hot air again. So it was just hot, cold, hot, cold.
Yep.
So I remember moving fairly decently the first 4 miles to the first aid station, power walking, running a little bit, power walking.
And the foot is kind of just there. Is it like
It's a
every
blur.
step is hurting?
Yeah, pretty
or-
much. If I stepped on a rock, like the harder surface, that was
Yeah.
like a sharp shooting pain. But if I just landed like on the dirt on the ground, it wasn't as bad. So that was fine. So those first 4 miles, I just remember there was a guy we were talking to. We got to the first aid station. I sat for a second and drank some broth. And but I didn't want to stay there long, so we got going. And then that long, rough section.
And it's rocky.
And it's rocky.
Yeah.
And so constantly, no matter what I did, I'm like, you can't not
Right.
step on rocks. And they're not smooth rocks, and so they're already like stabbing up into
And then
what
your
is already
foot
hurting.
sliding side to side. But now do you have it taped or bandaged or what's going on? Did you like just duct tape the whole bottom or
What did we do? I honestly
the crew did it?
yeah.
Whatever they did.
I think it was taped up, like there was some bandaging on it, because I have a whole first aid kit, because I am used to this, and I have every size and type of Band-Aid and tape. So yeah, it was all done up, but it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It didn't matter.
There's still a flap of skin there.
Yeah.
And it's raw underneath. And,
Yeah. Well, and then it started to fill back up again, so I could
Okay.
feel the squish, like the bubble of it. I could feel it kind of, the liquid moving across inside, and then it would burst again, and then it would fill up again, and then it would burst again.
Oh
So
my gosh.
during that rocky section, if there was like a smooth section that we could see where there weren't rocks, I ran that. And then when it would get rocky, I would walk it more, and then just run any bit I could see where there was clear. And here's the thing, I can't remember if it was on this loop or the one before, but I do know at one point during that section, I reached into my vest and I thought, I only have one gel in here. I shouldn't just have one gel right now, because I was taking 5 with me at the start of every loop. So I can't remember if it was loop 3 or 4 where I got to that point and I thought, I didn't grab more gels last time we were there.
Do you think they fell out when you took your pack off? Or
I don't
you just
know.
didn't get more because
I
you were
don't
focused
know.
on other things?
I have no
Yeah.
idea, because at this point it's the middle of the night and you're
Right.
struggling to remember
Yeah.
what happened when.
So,
So
can you
at
get
this
a
point I
gel
thought,
at the aid station, though?
the aid stations were really well stocked.
As long as it's something your stomach can tolerate, though. Let's just say that. Sometimes you can't just grab whatever.
True, very, very true. Because they had at Jackass Junction, because we did make it to there. They were making barbecue sandwiches, quesadillas, and I was like, I cannot eat sloppy joes.
Your stomach's like, nope.
I
don't
can't
you
do
put
that kind
down
of
here.
stuff. No, but and even gels at that point, I was having to sip on them. I couldn't just put a gel down. But the gummy or chewy type of nutrition was fine. So they had a bunch of like Welch's fruity gummy things out, like a bunch of them. And Erin and I kind of locked eyes, and she pointed, and I was shook my head yes, and she grabbed almost all of them, which I kind of felt bad about. But at that, I was there, and I had nothing in my
They
pack.
had more in a box under the table. Oh, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, but I knew I was behind on nutrition, and I was bonking hard, and I just had taken the last gel before we entered that station, and we still had half the loop to go, so I needed to get caught up. And I was like, this is going to be fine, because it's downhill now back to headquarters, so
Yeah.
I got through the roughest part. This is going to be fine. This is going to be good. Let's keep going. And then we kept going, and it was not getting fine or better. I remember looking down at my watch after we left Jackass Junction. We were out in the middle of before that and the next aid station, and I looked down at my watch, said 75 miles. And I thought, I feel at 75 miles right now how I did at 95 miles at Hennepin. And that was a mental letdown. Like, this is a problem to feel this bad at mile 75.
Right.
I didn't feel like I just hit the wall. I feel like the wall was hitting me, like it just repetitively hitting me. I wasn't walking straight. I was stumbling along. I just kept looking at the ground and thought, I just want to lay down right here, and if I never get up, that's fine.
It's weird with the brain. I mean, the brain goes there. Like,
and I'm trying to stay positive. I was looking around. I'm like, it's beautiful out here in the desert. It's dark, but you could still see quite a bit. I'm looking up at the stars, which is hard to do because you need to watch where you're going, because there were, we didn't mention the one type of cactus.
Oh, yeah. The one that they had to, if you made any contact with these little spiny balls, they had to remove them with pliers at the aid station.
Oh,
they said
my
absolutely
gosh.
don't touch it with your hand, because then it'll just attack your hand.
Oh my gosh.
And we had seen somebody on the first loop fall into one of them. So they said bring pliers or like a fine tooth comb so you can like flick out
Oh
these
my gosh.
burrows, because it will full on
Yeah,
attack
there
you.
was cactus all over the course.
So
I
you
mean, it was
got to
just
be careful
everywhere.
to not fall.
It's a whole new element then to your 100
Yeah.
mile journey.
You didn't want to wander off
So I didn't
course.
get to look
No.
up too. Yeah, we didn't look up too much, but I stopped and I looked up at the skies. I'm like, this is really pretty. It's really great to be out here. Like, I'm saying all these positive things, but then
But you're not believing
I don't
them.
believe any of it. But I'm trying real hard. I'm like, it's beautiful. This is great. And you've done this loop a few times now, and now you get to show it to Erin, and she can see how great it is.
Yeah.
And then when you get back, Dave is going to go out, and you can show him how awesome this loop
Yeah.
is. Like, I'm just saying. It's all BS, but I'm saying this positive stuff, trying to like turn it around. I'm eating the gummy things as fast as I can put them down to try to catch up, because I know that part of the issue is I'm behind on calories. But this was a low that I have not hit before.
And you are still ahead of the cutoff at this
Oh, yeah.
point, though. So that's
Yeah, I definitely had fallen behind. I wasn't catching him for sure. And got to the next aid station. It's a smaller one. Don't remember much about that. But then we left that one. I remember there was a bench. I wanted to sit on the bench for a minute. I really wanted to lay on the bench. Because again, my foot was throbbing with every step. Oh, and Erin kept asking, how's the blister on your foot? And I was like, it's fine, it's getting better, I think, it's getting better. But in my mind, I was like, but I'm not telling you about the one on my right foot now. So I was trying to just stay positive.
Well, and sometimes you don't want to call it into existence. You know
Exactly.
it's there, but you don't want to just be reminded about it.
Yeah, so she was asking me about the blister I'd had this whole time on my left foot, and I'm like, it's getting better, it is what it is, it's fine. But at the same time, I'm like, but I'm not going to tell you about this one on my right foot that's now developed and hurts worse.
Damn.
So I was trying to ignore it and pretend it didn't exist, because that helps. I don't know.
Right. I mean, really, what else can you do?
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
And you can't treat it until you get back around again.
Yeah, and so then a little while goes by, and she asked about it again. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I got blisters on both feet now. Like, every step, it doesn't matter left or right. Like, it is hurting. And also, she saw me. She was trying to keep me upright, because I wasn't. Again, I got behind on nutrition, and I just was not fully alert. I was kind of falling asleep too, standing up, or I just kept looking at the ground going, I just want to lay down right here. I just want to lay down right here. I just want to lay down right here.
Okay, so now we've got to switch gears again.
Yeah.
Okay, we got one talking himself out of going on. He's had it. He's done. This is it. He's got his whole list of excuses ready to go. The other one's ready to lay down on the ground and like bleed left for dead, or who knows. All right, Tim. So you come into the aid station. You have 4 loops now under your belt,
Yeah.
right? By
Yep.
yourself.
80 miles, 4
And
loops.
you got your story. You're
Yep.
going to give it to the crew. You're going to, see if it sticks.
Yeah. And I had it worked out. I mean, I didn't think there was really any question about it,
Right.
But then I got back to the tent, and I saw the guys, and they asked me how I was doing. I said, not good. I said, and they kind of got to work like getting me ready for the next loop, and I'm like, I don't.
Well, they're filling your water bottles.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't think I can go back out there, guys. I'm like, I don't think I can do another one,
And they're going to look and see if there's a broken bone or if you fell. Or
Yeah, we told them about how I was really just struggling to stay awake. At that point, it was still a thing, I mean, it was really it was really bothering me earlier on that loop, and then towards the end, I was just kind of in a low, and I was kind of done in my mind, I even stopped fueling, I only missed one gel probably, but I remember thinking, oh, I should probably fuel, and I'm like, no, because I'm going to go back around to the headquarters and I'm going to quit, I'm going to drop. I'm going to drop, so I don't even need it,
Yeah.
And but then, it was just putting it. Part of it was that then I had to speak it, and
Right.
and then the reasons are sounding even less convincing to myself, But then Dave and David, especially Dave, was just he was just. It wasn't that he wasn't like, oh no, I'm not buying it or anything. He was just encouraging, and he's like, I know you can go for one more loop, He's like, you have a lot of time left. You can walk it out if you need to. You can just power hike the whole thing. Then they suggested that I maybe sit there and just sit down for a few minutes, and just kind of think it over, maybe take a little nap. So I sat down in the chair, and there was like this pad on the floor, on the ground in our tent that they were just using to walk on all day. It was filthy, it was just this pad.
It's looking real good all of a sudden.
And they got that and like wrapped it around me, like a cover. I'm sitting in this chair with this filthy blanket around me, and I closed my eyes. I told him, I said, I don't want to sit here for long, 5 minutes. And I sat there and I tried to close my eyes, and I thought that maybe I would sleep for just a minute or two, and I didn't. It really, just hearing myself say it and hearing Dave say it, I already knew, like I knew what the answer was. I knew, like in that moment, that I couldn't quit. I was definitely going back out there for that final loop. I just didn't.
Yes!
I just didn't want to, and I was just.
It's not a big enough reason.
I had to sit there for a few minutes and just kind of come to terms with that. I knew what I was going to do. I wasn't going to lay there. I wasn't going to take a nap. I wasn't going to drop. So I didn't even. They set a timer, but I didn't even sit there for 5 minutes, and I think maybe it was like 3 minutes or something. And I got up and I was like, okay. I was like, I got to get into some warmer clothes, and let's do it. So at that point I was cold, so they helped me change, and decided that I would go back out for the last loop.
Ooh, that's awesome.
So, and then it was like, it was just like this has never happened. I've never had, first of all, I've never wanted to quit in a race, I've never had that thought or come that close or anything. But then it was just like a switch just kind of flipped after that. And I think it was just like in my mind, I knew that, okay, I'm doing this, because the way that the course was,
I think it's a little bit more like, let's fucking do this.
It was. I was very pumped up at that point. And you didn't, the way the course was laid out, you didn't want to drop at any of the aid stations out on the course, because it would be several hours before they would get you back. So it was really just getting out of the headquarters there where your crew was and where your transportation was. And then once you're on the course, you're pretty determined to just finish the loop at that point. So I went out on my fifth loop. I picked up my headphones, So I
There
would
you
have some
go.
music on this last loop, and I went out and was just really determined. Got this second wind that just never really left during that last loop for me.
That is awesome to hear. And now we got to switch back to Lisa because we don't know what the hell's going on over here.
Yeah, so
Because you two are separate and just kind of figuring it out on your own at this point.
right.
And
So
you're in pain.
yeah, I was in pain and the wall was hitting me. And then we got to the last little aid station before the main headquarters. And somewhere between there and the main headquarters, I too had decided I was done. I'd been trying for over 10 or 15 miles, well, probably about 10 miles, to say all the positive things and turn this
some
around,
kinda-
get the
yeah.
nutrition in, get it going, turn this around. And it wasn't happening. And I was like, I can't imagine going out and doing another loop and climbing that rocky section again with these blisters. And, but then at some point, I kind of got a second wind and I was moving good. That was the thing, my hips, my legs, everything felt good. My stomach was good, my legs were good. It was just really my feet and the fact that I'd gotten behind on calories. And just so mentally, I was just foggy and fuzzy and couldn't
Just low energy
yeah,
too.
and just couldn't move. But then all of a sudden I was moving good, and even Aaron said, like, you look great again. I'm like, I feel great again, let's go. And like, so
Yeah.
we were pushing then for a few miles, and then all of a sudden I tanked hard again.
Damn.
Like right before headquarters. And because I thought, all right, I am going to do this. I'm bouncing back. This is going to be fine. And it didn't last long, and I just tanked again. And then I got back to the main headquarters. I went by the crew. I went up to the start finish. I looped around and I saw other people heading back out for the 5th loop. And I just thought, why are you going out for another loop? You're not going to make it. Like, that's what I was thinking about them. That's what I was thinking about myself. And I was pushing too, because I started to realize what time it was, and I knew that Erin had to catch a flight.
Oh.
So I'm like, I gotta get her back so she could catch her flight. So I get back to the tent and I sit down and I'm upset. Dave had been crunching the numbers, and we had been doing every loop around 4 to 5 hours, and I really got lost out there that last loop. He said it took me 8 hours to do the 4th
Oh my
loop.
gosh.
I had no idea, and I said, "Are you serious? I've been out there for that long? Like, I had no idea." And so it was about 6 a.m. I think. I was within minutes of the cutoff from when you needed to leave headquarters to head out for the final loop. And I was there with my head down, and I was like, I just don't know that I can do it, and mentally didn't want to do it. Because I thought, again, like he said, if you get out there, you're out there.
Right.
You're out there for hours, because it was taking, this race has a 50% DNF rate.
Wow.
And so I knew, like, there's not just a few people out there waiting to get picked up. Like, if you go out there, you have to make it back. And I was like, I don't know if I can make it back.
Right.
Legs felt good, but my feet hurt so bad. And they were swelling up. I have a problem with that, too.
Which then will cause more blisters because
Uh-huh.
there's less room in the shoe.
Yes.
There.
And Dave is a great support. He is a great crew member, but also being my husband, he does not like to see me in pain. I mean,
It hurts him.
He will say this, it hurts him. And the problem is, if I'm hurting and I look at him, I can see the hurt in his face. It's not good. And
He's like, don't do this. Come,
Yeah.
come where it's warm over here. And
well, he didn't. I mean,
with his eyes. That's what he
it's
said.
exactly like he was crunching the numbers, and he was like, it's going to be 6 hours. Like, if you do it, like, it's going to be a push, and you've really got to run it. And I was like, I don't think I can run much more than I did. I think I could do it faster, but I don't know. And so we just kept going back and forth, and finally I just said, I can't go back out there. And at the time I was like, I don't care. I have never had a DNF before. So yeah, at the time, then I started crying, which I hate, but I was just
It happens.
mentally.
Your emotions.
Yeah.
I mean, look what you just been through.
I had
It's
nothing
fine. I cry at races, finish lines, the start lines. Honestly, in between.
Yeah.
Like, I cried to myself one time when a race. Tim was pacing me. I'm like crying by myself behind him. You know.
So
it's your emotions.
yeah, and so once the decision had been made, like I'm not going back out there, I just felt relief because I was just exhausted and hurt. So then I didn't stay there long because it had started getting towards the end of the last loop. I did start to get cold. I added another layer. So David and Dave helped me get to their car, and I still had to walk all of that though because you couldn't park anywhere close. I got in the car, and then when I got into the car, I was like, oh yeah, tell them I dropped. I forgot to do that, and I'm not walking back.
Yeah. Okay.
So
she's in the car.
Yeah, and head
you're-
back to the Airbnb for a shower.
Okay. So that's your day.
Yeah,
And-
because, yeah, like I said, it was within minutes of being head back out, and I didn't think I would make it back.
And then here's this guy. He's on fire. You've had a second wind. You got your music.
Yeah.
Is this a faster loop for you than the one before it? Or?
Yeah, it was. I ended up doing the last loop like a full hour faster than the fourth, and
Wow.
it was just. I mean, everything still felt fine. Like my legs felt. I mean, everything was tired. Obviously, my feet were sore and stuff. But I mean, I was still able to run. I didn't have any injuries I was dealing with. Calories were still going in. So, yeah, I mean, I had kind of a second wind, and really it was just like a determination to be done. I wanted to be done at that point. I wanted to be off the course. I wanted to be done.
Yeah. You have no idea if Lisa's still going somewhere behind you.
No,
what
when
her
I
story
came
is.
in, when I came in after the fourth loop, let's see. I came in after the fourth loop. I guess you would have still been.
I was still
Yeah.
out there.
You were still out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you were long gone when I showed up.
yeah.
Like an hour.
Yeah.
That's all he
Already.
knows.
So
His
I
buddy's still
didn't-
out there. That's all
right.
he knows.
I was uncertain of what was going on her end, but yeah, I just felt really determined on that last loop. This weird thing happened where I went into this groove and didn't feel like too much of a struggle. I knew that I was almost there.
Did you get some daylight on this last loop
Yeah,
too?
I did. Yeah, the sun came up maybe about halfway through that loop,
Nice.
which that kind of wakes you up. At that point, I had taken some of those gels with caffeine in them, and that perked me back up. Like I wasn't fighting that tiredness anymore. So that went away, and I just knew that. I mean, you could just feel that finish line pulling you.
Uh-huh.
You just knew that you were almost done. And that's all it was that was fueling those steps. And I was really, I mean, I was so sure I was going to quit that I remember having thoughts on that last loop, thinking like, wow, I'm really surprised I'm here right now, I'm really surprised.
Wow, what a surprise!
Yeah, I'm really surprised I'm out here running on this fifth loop. Like, I guess I am going to get that buckle,
Wow.
because I had given up on it on that previous loop and had already determined in my head that I was going to go home without the buckle. So
So then you're all excited.
it was just a combination of things. I had my music going. It was the last loop. Caffeine. I just felt excited to almost be done, and I was able to run pretty good pace, even up like in mile 90 and past mile 90, and I would get to places where I'd be running and I could see something up on the horizon, and I would say, just run to that, and then you give yourself a walk break, and then I would get there and I'd be like, fuck it, just keep running. Let's just get this done.
Yeah, the more you run, the quicker you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fifth loop didn't really. I guess the biggest thing I was feeling was just. I was just kind of shocked that I was out there. Like I said, it was kind of surprising. I was like, I guess I am doing this. I'm going to do this. All right, cool. And so I could. that the fifth loop was good for me, and then, before long, at that point, you've got a pretty good feel for the course. You kind of have an idea of, okay, I think it's up around these next couple of bends, and
Yep.
that I'll be able to see the finish area. And so, sure enough, I could hear it before I could see it, and then I kind of came around that last corner, and I could see the whole headquarters, and knew I was there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's just an awesome feeling, and
Any emotions hitting you at that point?
yeah, more than they ever have before. I've never had like a moment in a race when I've gotten like emotional or something. Even after my first 100-mile, I wondered if I would, and I didn't.
That's okay. I get emotional enough for both of us.
But I
so.
did. But I did a little bit at this one. Like, yeah, coming into the finish, and then because it did really it felt like a victory. Because I
Yes.
thought that I was gonna throw in the towel, and then I didn't. And then when you get to headquarters, because that's where all the crews are set up. That's where everyone is, and this is a big race, so there's a lot of people there. And that little loop that you have to do around the start finish, where you kind of run past everyone's tent and all the crews before you go across the finish line. So that was emotional, running through the chute there, that last quarter mile, because there's just so many people, crew people and people who have already finished that are there cheering for you, So that was
Yeah.
awesome.
And could you see anybody from your crew at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I ran past, because I actually had to run past our tent on the way to the finish. So I ran past the tent, and they saw me, and then they ran up ahead of me to the finish. And whenever I finished, then Dave and David were standing right there.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. So I got my buckle.
Beautiful.
Mission accomplished.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What a great story. So here's where we're left though, because you have this amazing sense of accomplishment that you just, basically, went through hell and back and pulled yourself up from the bootstraps, and you're, on cloud 9, and you're like, where's my buddy? Where's my buddy? How's my buddy doing?
I was already showered in bed.
Yeah.
And still not caring.
So then he's got to hear the story though,
Yeah.
and it's kind of a roller coaster.
Yeah. Then I found out how yours had ended. So it was. That was a new experience with us running together. One of us finished and one of us didn't. That's never happened. So yeah, it was just this weird, crazy energy of this high and this low.
Yeah.
Kind of feeling both of them.
Well, and congratulations to both of you, because 80 miles, it's freaking huge, and congratulations to a finish that you thought you were not gonna finish,
Yeah.
and that you turned it around somehow.
I did, and I did it. I finished it. I did the running and stuff, but just what I owed to the crew for helping me through that hard part of the race, to
Oh my gosh, they're everything.
Convin-
They don't even
to- just to
realize how
convince me
important they are.
to go back out there, because I wasn't going to. And I struggle with this part of it a little bit, because I know that's a part of this, the ultra running and working through.
Well, even a 5K, sometimes you're like, oh wait, I could just dip out and go to my car.
Yeah.
Honestly, no matter where you're at in your running journey, we've all been in a race, and thought, I could just stop. There's my car over there, or I could just walk. I could quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wasn't happy with myself about that. It's a part of it. It's a part of the story. But I was a little disappointed that I wanted to quit, and wished that I would have been able to like summon that or motivate that within myself, But that's why you bring crew,
Right.
that's their job, and
Right.
that's a part of learning about yourself.
And you did summon it. Okay, they
know.
said some words
Oh,
to
for
you,
sure, yeah.
and then
Yeah.
their words could have bounced right off your head,
For sure,
But
yeah.
you heard them, and then you started going to work inside yourself.
Yeah,
So
it didn't take much. It didn't take much, but yeah, I owe the crew really for this race,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crew and pacers and anybody you bring along with you, like those people who care about you. There's just something so special about. I can remember being so excited to see my people when I'd come in, and if I could like maybe see their silhouette or something, like, oh my gosh, I think
Yeah.
that's my friend, and then you just, when you leave the aid station, you just kind of ride on
You do.
that high
Yeah,
of seeing
it's
your
huge.
people who care about you.
People who do these races by themselves, they just show up with no crew. I don't.
Right.
That's
Kudos
that
to
is
them.
on another level.
It really
It
is.
yeah.
Yeah. And I aspire to do that someday, like just to pack my own bags and, do it by my own power. But I got to say, I love my crew, and I love that whole like good thing you got every time you see them
Yeah,
along
man.
the course. Like there's just, you can't even describe it.
It was huge, and
Yeah.
It's a
really,
definite boost.
I just
Yeah.
give them credit for getting me across the finish line.
For sure.
Yeah, they were awesome.
All right, so now we're in just kind of a different dynamic because we got two running buddies, and one finished the race and has a buckle, and it's hard to celebrate when you've got your friend that had to
and
drop.
We're staying in the same Airbnb.
Right.
So
yeah.
And I'm hobbling around, walking on my heels, basically,
Oh my
because
gosh.
that Sunday, that morning, I still was like, I don't care. I did what I could do.
Exactly.
And it hurt. I'm like, my feet are trashed. I can't walk on them hardly. And they started, after I took my shoes off, they swelled up so much that we had an early morning Monday flight. And I thought, I don't know if I have shoes that I can put on
Oh my gosh.
because my feet were so swollen. I couldn't get any of my tennis shoes on. I was looking at wearing maybe a pair of Dave's tennis shoes because my feet were so swollen. I couldn't get shoes on. Other than
Yeah.
that, though, I felt fine. My hips were good. My quads were good.
So you're okay with the decision that you made because it was the right decision at the time.
At that
Like,
time, I was.
yeah.
Now, later on.
Okay, so we're gonna fast forward. All right.
Yeah.
And you start to chew on it a little bit more, or you.
Yeah, even that morning, I was like, those poor souls that are still out there, now the sun's back up and it's hot again.
I'm not them. I'm not one of them. Those poor bastards.
Yeah, but at the same time, after I only laid down for a few hours, but I was laying there and I'm like, everything feels fine but your feet.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could have just pushed through, you would have made it. Because you could have, I know I went back and forth about, I could have got out there and got halfway and stuck. And then I'd just be sitting out there waiting for the sack wagon to come pick me up, or I would have come around but not made the final cutoff, so I still would have been a DNF. So I kept going back and
And
forth.
in worse shape at that
but
point.
when the sun comes up, you get this burst of energy, and that always, that could woke me up.
a new day.
Maybe I could have got that last. So I kept going back and forth with should I have gone out and tried the other loop or not? Would I have made it or would I not? I was like him. I was mad at myself for mentally not pushing myself to go do it. Also with Dave not pushing me as much as I think he
Well,
could have, but
I mean, when you have
but he was being
basically raw
realistic.
hamburger for the bottoms of your feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you supposed to do with that?
Exactly, and he could get a better view of them than I could. He knew what they looked like, and he was crunching the numbers, and he was like, it's really going to be a push. And at the time, I was just so tired, I didn't think I could. So, but yeah, Sunday was spent back and forth about it, but ultimately feeling okay with my decision. But then as time went on, like the next morning, we got up, and I remember specifically, I was able to get shoes on, thank God. The next day, I slept with my feet propped all the way up. I got all the fluid out. So we got to the airport at like 7 or 8 a.m. because we had an early flight, and we were on the plane flying. And I leaned over to Dave and I said, I'm doing 100 miles this year. I've trained all summer. My legs still feel good. My feet will heal up quickly. I'm doing 100 miles this year. I don't know when.
And how
or
much time left in the year do you have to get this 100 miles
That
done?
was November
Yeah,
1st.
yeah.
Okay. I was thinking it was pretty late in the year.
It's pretty late in the year, yes. But we were flying home on November 1st, and I said, don't tell anybody. I don't know what I'm going to do or how I'm going to do it. But I just want to do it myself. Because all our friends knew we were running this race. We'd been talking about it for 2 years. And so, yeah, I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. And it might just be a solo thing around
Right.
our local area.
Mhm.
So that whole flight, I was thinking, where can I run for 24 hours and be safe, like on
Right.
my own? Because
Yeah, because if it's your own personal thing and you don't want to tell people and you don't want to make
Yeah.
a thing, then
I didn't want to
how
make a
is this
thing of
gonna
it.
go down?
And our people, our friends that already helped us all summer with some long runs, with overnight runs. I'm like, I just need to do this because I feel like mentally I kind of failed myself. So I wanted to push through and do a hard thing mentally and get it done myself. I don't know why, but that's how I was.
You know, I'm going to ask you why. Why?
So anyway, I'm just like, I need to do this for me because I felt like I let myself down with not pushing myself to go out on that last loop. So the whole flight I was just thinking about, well, on the MCT trails, maybe I can find a loop and just do it. But I'm like, there's animals, there could be people out,
Right.
like, how am I going to do this? Well, maybe I'll find another 100-mile race that's near home that I can do. So that was pretty much my whole thought for the flight home. And then the next day, I actually went back and looked at my search history. Yeah, it was the next day. It was November 2nd. I was on ultras.
Well, that didn't take long.
I was looking for races and what my options were.
You still don't even have any new skin on your feet.
Nope,
either.
still couldn't walk very well. But that was a busy day because we had to basically unpack everything from my race, and we were packing up to drive to Florida the next morning and start leaving at like 6:30 in the morning for Dave's race.
Oh,
so
that's right.
I didn't have a lot of time. So that day, once I got everything unpacked and repacked, I was looking. That might have distracted me from the packing. But I had found a race in North Carolina that was a 5-mile loop. So it was kind of similar, except for you're doing a lot more loops because it's just 5 miles. But their whole motto was like, if it's the first weekend in December, and if you haven't been able to finish 100-mile race this year and you want to get one in, this is it. We'll help you.
It's like they're speaking directly to you,
Yeah.
like, Lisa, if you...
Yeah, and it was an easy course, but the whole talk of it was, we're here to support you. It's going to be easy. This is an easy
Oh.
course. And I'm like, I'm not looking for easy.
Because I'm twisted and sick.
Like, I don't want something that's going to be easy. So I was looking at that, and then I found there was also a treadmill challenge. It was called the Dreadmill Challenge for 100 miles on a treadmill. And you could do it at any point in December whenever you had time. So I found those two races, and I thought, I'm not going to make a decision yet. We got to hit the road tomorrow. We got, let's think
Switch
about
gears.
this and see which is the best, what would work out. So we had the 12-hour drive down to Florida, his race. We get back the next week, another 12-hour drive back. And as we're driving back, I was like, I don't want to figure out the logistics of packing stuff up, driving 12 hours to North Carolina. Like, I don't want to drive and do all that stuff again. I think I'm going to do the treadmill thing.
Oh my God. So it took that drive to kind of really solidify it.
I was like, I don't want to do a 12-hour drive one way again in like 3 weeks. And getting all the gear packed up and doing all that. As the week we were in Florida, I had a lot of time to think about all that, and on the drive too. So I thought, we have a nice gym area in our basement that we've made. We have a treadmill there. I've got tables. I could just spend the next few weeks setting up my gear, what I need.
Oh my gosh.
Pick a weekend. I started making a list. We have a screen down there, and started making a note. Stopped listening and watching a lot of the podcasts that I like for like the 2 weeks leading up to it.
So we need some good content.
So I had a list
for this.
Yeah, I had a list of all the podcasts and documentaries I've been wanting to watch or check in on. So pretty much made my mind up.
And then you got your credit card out and you registered.
I waited another week or two just because, again, I was like, I just want to do this and not say anything about it. But also, if you sign up, not that anyone's ever snooping on your Ultra sign up page, but I did wait until like the 22nd to sign up.
Gotcha. Because people can see you registered for something then.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you told no one other than your husband.
Correct.
Like your buddy over here, he knew nothing
Nope.
of this insanity.
No. Which I felt bad about.
Your little dirty little secret in your basement or wherever.
I did, and all the week leading up to it, I thought, I wonder if he's going to notice I'm not running as much this week because I was tapering.
I kind of did. I knew she wasn't going to let it go. I mean, I knew that she would get her redemption, and I knew that it was probably coming soon. Like
Coming swift, coming hard.
Yeah. And I kind of thought that it would go down like that. I just thought that you would probably pick like a 100-mile race real soon, just sign up for it and just do it. I kind of thought that would be your move. But then a little bit of time had gone by, and I kind of stopped thinking about it. So I did notice that week. I had the thought once or twice, because we usually know what we're running, and I noticed that there were a couple of times where you hadn't run, or maybe hadn't run as much as what you normally would. But we didn't really have any kind of a training plan at that point. We were just running, but just kind of freestyling it. So I didn't think much of it. I had no idea.
And usually by Wednesday or Thursday, we're messaging each other like, hey, what's the
Where do
plan
you
for
want to
Saturday?
run for Saturday? Yeah.
And your crickets.
I didn't say anything, and I was like, man, I hope he doesn't ask.
Well, and I did. It was like Thursday or Friday
It was Friday.
night. Yeah.
I was on the treadmill already.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You were.
So
yeah.
it's already started.
That's right. Yeah.
So when did you start then?
I started it on Friday morning at 8 a.m.
Okay, so he's messaging you, hey, where are we running this weekend?
That evening, I'm like, hey, I thought it was kind of weird. I'm like, usually Lisa will hit me up earlier in the week, and we'll make a plan for Saturday or for Sunday. So yeah, I texted her Friday night and was like, I'm gonna go to Greensfelder in the morning if you wanna.
Yeah,
if you wanna
this
run.
is weird, but I'm gonna throw it out there.
And she's like, no, I'm doing this treadmill challenge thing, so I won't be able to make it. And I didn't question it. I didn't think that this was your 100-mile redemption at all. I thought that maybe it was something with Aaron or something with work, like you guys had signed up for some.
I was hoping. I kept telling Dave, I'm like, I don't lie. Like, I don't like lying. So I'm like, I hope he doesn't ask specifics
because yes.
I'm like, I might just say something if he does, because by then I'm already running, like, if I can just get to Friday. And then I said that, and I was like, don't ask any more questions, and he didn't. And I was like, oh, thank goodness.
But Tim's so great, though, like that. He really respects boundaries. And so, I mean, you're just such a great person. So he picked up something was not, something was different. Yeah. And so he just did his thing, and he gave you the space to freaking... Do what? Tell us what you did. Tell us how this went down.
What did you do?
So, like I said, the week leading up, we had been staining. Part of the reason, too, I didn't run that as much that week is we were trying to stain the front porch. It's all wood, and it was still nice weather outside. So it really was awful because that week was all nice. It would have been great to be running outside. Oh. But I ran on the treadmill a few times because I don't run on the treadmill unless I absolutely have to, like lightning and thunderstorm or like inches of ice. Otherwise, I will be outside. But I thought I need to do some shorter runs on the treadmill to kind of get a feel for this, make sure this is really going to work. So I had done that a few times in the weeks leading up to it. And then, like I said, we had been staining the fence. So we had the gallon cans of that. So I found if I put the folding table on top of those cans, 4 of them, it was up higher. So when I was on the treadmill, I could easily reach and grab. I had some half-gallon Arctic containers. I filled those up with water, so I had that all set up. I pretty much wanted to do this self-supported. So all through the week, I got my gels, chips, Pringles, pickles, Uncrustables, like everything you could think of. I had a full aid station kind of set up there. And the nice anti-gravity kickback camper chair, and that blanket, and my list of documentaries and podcasts and things to listen to and watch. And I'm trying to think what else I put down there. The Theragun foam rollers.
Just some therapy type
Yeah,
stuff.
just in case I needed that.
Yeah.
And like I said, this was an actual event, so I had to show proof of my start time. I had to do time-stamped photos throughout the run. If I took a break, I needed to write it down, so I had a dry erase board for that. I had to take a picture of the distance on the treadmill and when I started and stopped. So I had all my things set out to be able to do that. I downloaded an app on my phone that did the timestamp and all that. And so 8 a.m. on Friday, Dave was at work. I mean, he knew what I was doing, but he left for
He
work.
didn't want any part of that.
Well, no, and I was fine. I'm like, no, you don't take off, just go. So, so yeah, I just started running on the treadmill and entertaining myself with my podcast. And I did a nice steady pace of like, I'd run 7 minutes and then walk 3 minutes. Run 7 minutes, walk 3 minutes. Run 7, walk 3.
I don't really know what could possibly be worse
Mhm.
than 100 miles on a treadmill.
Yeah.
So you're like, what could I do?
Can't think of really anything.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I can't even last 5 minutes on a treadmill.
No, I hate the treadmill.
The most I ever do on it, it's been like 4 to 5 miles, maybe. I don't know that in the last year I've ever done
Holy
any more.
shit.
And all my training runs that I did on the treadmill, I call them training runs, they were just like 4-mile jaunts. And so I'm like, well, we'll see how this goes. And that's why I wanted to take the walk breaks a little bit, because when you are inside, and I set up a box fan on a chair kind of blowing at me to keep me cool. I set that up too. It took a few days.
Well, I mean, if
'Cause
you
I
think
wanna
about a
make-
100-mile run, like
Yeah.
everything you need for a 100-mile run.
Right, because once I got going and got started down there, I didn't want to have to run back upstairs. I was already going to have to go up one flight of stairs to get to a bathroom if I needed to go to the bathroom, which thankfully it's like right outside the basement door. But I definitely didn't want to be going up to the second floor to get something that I had forgotten.
Yeah.
And I wanted to limit trips up the steps because I have to stop, take the photo, and start all over again every time I do that. So, yeah, once you're going, you're going. It's
So
kind of a
all
pain to
day on Friday,
Mm-hmm.
into the night, Friday night,
Yeah.
Saturday morning.
Yep. And I thought when Dave, like I said, I did want to mostly do it myself. I had it all set up, but I thought, well, he'll get home from work here in this evening, and he'll probably pop in a few different times or talk to me for a bit and keep me entertained. Well, he got home from work around 3, and he came down wearing a mask, and he's like, I started to get a sore throat about an hour ago. I really don't feel good. Do you need anything? And I was like, can you grab some Band-Aids, I think, because I already was having blister issues. I was about,
There we go. Okay,
yeah,
all
no.
your nice new skin you just grew on there.
Yeah, exactly. And I was about 30 miles in. I said, just grab that and I should be fine. And he did. And then I think he came back around 6 o'clock and checked in to see how things were going, and it was fine. He's like, well, I'm taking NyQuil and I'm going to go lay down.
You're on your own.
Call me if you need something. And yeah, he didn't look good. He wasn't feeling good. And so he was gone. And then but I was fine. I was checking off my list of podcasts and documentaries. I was watching the newest one with Courtney DeWalter. I was watching her run through, the Alps. So I was like, this is good.
amped.
And I was like, yeah, I'm not running her pace for sure, but I'm getting this thing done. But then at 10 p.m., I thought, you know what? It's actually kind of getting cool down here because our basement gets cool when it's cool outside. I'm going to call Dave and tell him to bring me a long sleeve shirt down. I forgot to do that. I didn't think I would need it. I call his phone 3 times and he doesn't answer. So then I called his work phone, which is always on. He had forgot to turn his phone back on when he got home from work. And so he's groggy. He brings me down a light long sleeve shirt and he's like, are you good? And I'm like, that's all I need. You can go back to bed. I'll see you in the morning.
Wow.
And that was it. So I kept going. Around midnight or so, I think, is when I thought, I think I'm going to take a break and kick my feet up because I could feel the blisters and the swelling. And I had stopped a couple times to patch things up I found a thing that was working, these gel pads that kind of go over the blister. Taped them on really good. So that was working really well. But I kicked back in the anti-gravity chair and propped my feet up, and then I could just feel the swelling come out of my feet. And I was like, this is great. So I set a timer on my watch or on my phone for like 20 minutes. And I just put the blanket down, I closed my eyes, and I rested for like 20 minutes. And it went off, and I really wanted to hit again. But I was like, nope, get up and go. Like, that's all you need. And so then I did another... Well, then I got up, my feet felt like brand new because all the swelling had gone down. So
Nice.
I told Tim, I'm like, in the future, I might need to stop.
Yeah,
After,
get 'em up.
Yeah, after 60 miles, my feet start swelling.
Just 10
and
minutes.
if I can just prop them up for 10 minutes, the swelling goes out, and then I'm fresh again. And I ran solid for 4 hours after that.
Wow.
Mile 7 and 3-minute walk. But I was running really well. And then at around 1 a.m. too, I think I switched to music and stopped watching stuff. So I was just rocking out and jamming
gosh.
for about 4 hours. And then
And just
I
mentally
thought,
determined.
Yeah.
Like there was just no thought of that
No.
I'm not going to get back on the treadmill.
yeah, I'm going to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm getting a little dizzy from moving and not going anywhere, but I'm going to keep going. And my feet started to swell up again after about 4 hours. I thought, okay, I'll do that again. I'll just kick my feet up for about like 15, 20 minutes. And I did that. You know, I think I took a bathroom break, ate an Uncrustable, and then I kept going. Dave got up around 5 a.m. or 6, and he came down, and I said, I'm doing good, but could drink like an iced coffee, or bring me down more gels that have caffeine, because I need caffeine.
Yeah.
So he did that, and then he went back to bed. And just kept running. I might have done another nap. I can't remember if I did 2 or 3 of the 20-minute little breaks, but otherwise I kept moving. And then I think around 8 or 9 he came back down, and he was trying to help me do the math, because I definitely wanted to get done under 30 hours, because that was the cutoff for Javelina. And
we have a score to settle.
yes.
So
Yep. And yeah. And I set the pace, and once I got to like 90, 95 miles, kind of like he said, I had a burst of energy, and I was like, I'm getting this done, and I pushed.
Yeah, you know what's
hard.
happening. It's just a matter of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So got it done
oh
around
my
noon.
gosh. You are
On Saturday.
insane.
Yeah. And I had Dave take a couple pictures. I took a picture of the dry erase board, and I sent it to Tim and Mel and Rachel, and I was like, 100 miles done.
Damn.
And they were like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, come again?
Yeah.
Your mind's just like
I ran at
explodes.
Greensfelder that morning, and I was at Taqueria Z having a taco and a beer, and she sent that, and I'm looking at this photo. It's the dry erase board, in the gym with all your totals on it, and I didn't even know what I was looking at first, but it became quickly apparent that, like, you just ran 100 miles on a treadmill, didn't you?
Because at first your mind doesn't even go there. Because it's like, who in the hell would do that? Who
Yeah.
even want to do that? Who would sign
Some
up for
psycho.
that? Right. Yeah, complete psycho.
For real.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because I've read about people doing it before, and I was like, no way would I ever.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, well,
Sounds like torture.
this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
And 100 miles on a treadmill. And they sent you
Oh, yeah.
swag? Or?
Yep, I got my belt buckle. Got sent to me.
Sweet.
Get a shirt.
The Dreadmill Challenge.
Yep.
Awesome. What a great story. I mean, it's a complete roller coaster from beginning to end, and everything you guys have been through. Anything else to add? Anything about your friendship? What's for the future? Any plans? I mean, you two are still back to running together again, running buddies. You looking for the future, or just kind of seeing what grabs you?
Well, we've already
Something's
signed.
already grabbed you.
Yeah, we were already signed up, yeah.
They're already
Yeah.
signed up.
Got to keep it
Of course.
going. Really had pretty strong thoughts towards the end of 2021 that, we'd been on a tear for a couple of years doing lots of races and done a couple of 100-milers, and it's, it's almost like continuous training year-round. I mean, there's a few breaks. There's
Sure.
usually one around the beginning of the year. have a little bit of a break and maybe a week or two in between some of these races before the next training plan starts. So I was really kind of feeling like maybe not doing 100 miles this year.
Oh, at the end of Javelina training, we were set, like, we were definitely not doing 100 miles
Yeah.
in 2022. Let's just
We
do
were,
like
like,
50,
running in the-
100K.
Just
running-
done with
yeah,
all this
we-
training.
Well, we were
Yeah.
running in the heat and everything and the high miles, and it's like, no, we were really certain that there wouldn't be any 100-mile races this year. But
Spoiler alert, we've already signed up for
we're
one.
already signed up. It just got to
We're all happy because that means more good stories in the
Yeah.
future.
Just got to keep it going. I feel like it takes a while to kind of work up your training and work up your distance and everything. And that, to me, working up to it is harder than just maintaining it. So I'm like, I got to keep going. I got to keep doing this. And, you know, doing the race, doing Javelina and then her race, it just kind of made me excited about doing it again. And
Yeah,
I mean, we
re-energized.
had all of 2020 without any racing. You know, it just went away for a whole year. So to be back to racing this last year, I feel like, yeah, I'm excited about it again. And you know, you kind of go through ruts and highs and lows with your training, and when you're
Sure.
really super excited about it, and then other times not so much. But
It becomes a grind
Yeah,
sometimes,
yeah.
and
But,
it's necessary.
yeah, we're signed up for a 100-miler out in Oregon this year at the end of this summer.
Oregon's beautiful.
Yeah. yeah.
What's the name
Looks
of your
beautiful.
race?
Oregon Cascades 100.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds epic.
Shout out to Denzel. Coming your way.
Hey, Denzel, they're coming to see you. He might run part of it with you.
Yeah.
You never know. Awesome. Well,
Yep.
thanks for sitting down with us and sharing your story. Loved hearing about it. You two are awesome. We're behind you all the way. If you ever need anything, I mean, keep kicking ass. Like, complete insanity. And we look forward to the future.
Yeah. Thanks
Yeah.
for having us.
Thanks for letting us tell the story.
Thanks, guys. For information on training programs through RunWell Coaching, please visit runwellcoaching.info. And for all other information on events, visit our website at the store, runedwardsville.com. Thanks so much for listening. See you next time.